All right. Hello, everyone. So, the purpose of this video will be to walk you through one of the main assignments in this course, which is this media article essay. So, I'm going to click on the document here from Blackboard. And this will take us to the description of this assignment. All right. Analyzing psychology research reportings, worth 60 points of your grade. And this will be submitted as an essay. So let me read the overview and the assignment objectives. Overview. In this assignment, you are tasked with developing your skills in evaluating the dissemination and interpretation of psychological research in the media. You will perform a critical comparison between how a psychological study is presented in a media article and its original peer-reviewed publication. This exercise aims to sharpen your ability to distinguish between primary and secondary sources, assess the accuracy and integrity of psychological science reporting, and comprehend the challenges in communicating complex psychological findings to a broader audience. Okay, so the assignment objectives. One is to differentiate between primary and secondary sources. So a primary source is the original article as described by the scientists that conducted the study. And a secondary source is a news article or a summary of that article written by somebody else. So a textbook would be a secondary source. An article in the media would be a secondary source. Okay. Next, to critically assess how psychological studies are reported and interpreted in the media. To enhance research skills in identifying and understanding peer-reviewed psychological literature. To learn how to track down original peer-reviewed studies. To gain practice in reading peer-reviewed research reports. And finally, to cultivate critical thinking, analytical writing, and reflective evaluation regarding the portrayal of psychological research. Okay, so you're going to submit an essay that we'll talk about in just a moment, a link to a media article that we'll talk about in just a moment, and a PDF to the original peer-reviewed article. Okay, so with that in mind, let's talk about the details of this assignment. And part one is the selection of sources. So you're going to begin by finding a science article in the media from some popular science website. And the article has to be in the field of psychology or the behavioral sciences, though I'll also take neuroscience as well. So psychology, neuroscience, or the behavioral sciences, broadly speaking. And the article you find has to be based on a specific peer-reviewed article in which an experiment was conducted. So not a review article, not a meta-analysis, but an original peer-reviewed paper in which an experiment was carried out. Next, you're going to locate the original peer-reviewed study that is discussed in this media article. So let's look at some examples. There are all these sites like Psychology Today, for example, or Science Daily that have all of these sort of popular media articles, some of which are based on original peer-reviewed studies. So let's take a look. 3 ideas from Aristotle on how to build a good life. And you know what? That sounds absolutely fascinating. But I don't think this is going to work. Happiness, purpose, this is all great stuff. But this is not going to work because this article is not based on any one specific peer-reviewed study. It looks like there's something mentioned here, a few citations and sources, but nothing specific. So this is not going to work. Let's look at another example. Do parents always need to validate children's feelings? Okay, that sounds intriguing. Okay, so this is also not going to work because this is merely the opinion of some psychologist on some topic. Again, this is not based on any one particular peer-reviewed experiment. So this also would not work. Let's look what else they have. Can reducing cognitive bias reduce discrimination? Let's try this. Okay. A new study recommends, okay, this looks promising. This appears to be based on a specific study. So let's click on that study, and here's the link. Okay, so they take us to the original peer-reviewed article, and this also will not work because this is a review article. And remember, it has to be an empirical study, an experiment in which data was collected. And this is simply a review of other studies. So it's not going to work either. Let's check out psychology news in Science Daily. Let's see. Study shows heightened sensitivity to PTSD and autism. Let's try this. Okay. This appears to be based on a specific research study. And here at the end, you have a link to that study. Here it is. So let's follow the link. Okay. All right. And here is the original peer-reviewed study, which is being referenced by this media article. And this appears to be a real study, meaning they actually conduct an experiment and collect data. You have a results section, a methods section, etc. Now, this is much more neuroscience than it is psychology, but I would accept it. Okay? So again, this would satisfy the criteria. So you found an article in the media that discusses a specific study that was conducted. And here is that original study that was the inspiration for this media article. Okay. So now that satisfies part one, selection of sources. Okay. And now you understand this part here. So in the submission, in addition to your essay, a link to the media article, that will be this link, and in the PDF of the original peer-reviewed article, not merely a link or title. So you would download a PDF and upload this with your submission. Okay. All right. So let's say you found your media article and you found the original peer-reviewed experimental study that the media article is based on. Now your task is to write this essay. And the essay has really two components. The first part is the summary of the peer-reviewed article. So before you begin, you want to sit down and carefully read both the media article and the original study as well. Okay, read both of them carefully. Then you're going to start writing your essay. And the first part is a summary of that peer-reviewed article, approximately 350 words. And here you want to clearly summarize what is the purpose of the study, what was the hypothesis, what methodology did they use, what were their findings and their conclusions. Okay, so a summary of that original study. Now, the next part of your essay is the comparative analysis. And now you're going to write sort of an analysis of how well this media article captures the important aspects of the original peer-reviewed paper. And so here, some of the questions that you want to address is, one, how accurate is the media article's representation of the study? Sometimes these articles are written by just like people without very much experience in science, reporters, and sometimes they make mistakes. So maybe you find various mistakes that have been made. Okay, so how accurate is the media article? Next, were there any significant details or nuances omitted by the media article? And almost certainly the answer is going to be yes. I mean, this is much shorter than the original. So you can talk about what was left out. Okay, what is missing in the media article? Did they just skip over details of the methods, or did they miss talking about important aspects of the original study? Did the media article exaggerate or oversimplify the findings from the original study? So a lot of times there's exaggeration. There's an overstating of what the findings actually were. Was the media article effective in conveying the study, the original study's significance and limitations? So how well did it talk about why the study was important, and also what are the limitations of the study? And finally, because this is a methods course, how well does the media article convey the methods of the original paper? How well were all of these gory details captured in the media article? Did they talk about the methods? Or did they just skip to the conclusions? Okay. All right. And finally, references of both papers. This is the evaluation criteria. You can read this on your own. And a warning about plagiarism. Please do not plagiarize this assignment. All right, so hopefully that was useful. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Have a great day.